Hi, I'm Dr. Cass Crifasi, Associate Professor of Health Policy and Management at the Bloomberg School of Public Health and co-director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Gun Violence Solutions.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nicholas Meyerson, an Assistant Professor at the Bloomberg School of Public Health and a core faculty member at the Center for Gun Violence Solutions. Today we're going to talk about one of the more simple but important steps when it comes to responsible gun ownership. And that's how we can keep our homes, our children, our communities, and just those who live around us safe from gun violence, and that's safe storage. We'll talk about the significance of the issue, what safe storage is, what data and research has to tell us, public opinion about the matter, and how you can play a part in keeping guns stored safely and securely.
So we've mentioned safe storage. What do we mean? The gold standard is to store guns unloaded, locked up, and separate from ammunition. Every gun, every time. Now there are a range of safe storage devices available, but the most important thing is the right device for you is one that you'll actually use, whether that's a cable lock, a locking box, or a biometric gun safe. If you own rifles and shotguns for hunting that you only use occasionally and don't need quick access to, a cable lock might be the right choice for you. If you own a gun for personal protection or home defense, a biometric safe might be the right choice. A biometric safe can be accessed via a fingerprint or a key code, and it also has an emergency backup key. Importantly, keys and codes shouldn't be stored with your firearms. They should be stored in a separate location that can't be accessed by individuals who shouldn't have access to your firearms. And it's really about making sure your guns are stored safely, every gun, every time, in a way that's consistent with why you own firearms. As a gun owner myself, all of our guns are stored unloaded, locked up, and separate from ammunition. We do have one gun that's owned for home defense that's in a quick access safe that we could get to easily if we needed to. Otherwise, again, all of our guns are stored locked up every time. States across the US require this kind of storage. 27 states and the District of Columbia require guns to be stored in a way that they can't be accessed by kids or teens. These are called child access prevention laws.
Guns continue to be the leading cause of death among young people between the ages of 1 to 17 years old. Data tells us that approximately 5 million children live in a home where a gun is kept loaded and unlocked, putting them at risk and leaving them vulnerable to unintentional injuries, suicide, or other forms of injury. More than half of gun owners report that they don't keep their guns stored securely or safely, meaning at least one gun in their home is left unlocked and or loaded. This leaves millions of youth at risk of easy access to a firearm in their homes or in the homes of family members or friends. Hundreds of unintentional shootings occur each year because kids gain access to a gun that was left unlocked and loaded. We know that safe storage works. Prior evaluations show that child access prevention laws effectively reduce unintentional injuries and suicides, with a recent study by colleagues showing a 14% reduction in firearm suicide among youth, meaning these laws have saved the lives of hundreds of children across the country.
And this is really important because when kids and teens use guns in suicide, those most often come from their home or the home of another family member or friend. So safe storage is really imperative because gun suicide is on the rise. We know that it's been increasing, and the last year that we have complete data, gun suicide continued to reach all-time highs. But this is not experienced equally across demographic groups. We know that young Black Americans in particular have been experiencing an alarming increase in gun suicide, such that their rates of gun suicide have actually outpaced that of their white peers. Guns are exceptionally lethal. They are the most common mechanism used in fatal suicide attempts, and that's because 90% of attempts with a firearm result in a fatality. So making sure that we are storing guns safely can help reduce suicide.
Unsafe storage practices have prematurely ended the lives of thousands of kids in recent years, and this issue is not a partisan one. There's consensus across political ideologies, across groups, across demographic groups, in the importance of responsible gun ownership and storage. 3 out of 4 Americans agree and support safe storage laws. And this position is maintained by gun owners themselves. More than 6 out of 10 gun owners say that guns should be kept locked, unloaded, and securely at home when not in use. And this also applies to keeping firearms in vehicles or responsible practices when concealed carrying.
And everyone has a role to play in safe gun storage. As a gun owner, I have the responsibility to ensure my guns are stored unloaded and locked up when they're not in use. But even if you don't own firearms, there's a role for you to play as well. You probably know someone who owns a firearm. A family member, a friend, an acquaintance, the parents of your kids' friends may own firearms. So having these conversations is really important to help promote the kinds of behaviors we want to see. If you think about policy and attitude shifts around drinking and driving over the last few decades, that was really driven by not just policies, but how we were thinking and talking about the problem, normalizing conversations around drinking and driving. The same is true here, normalizing these conversations about the behaviors that we want gun owners to engage in. When you send your kids to a friend's house, talking about safe gun storage, the same way you talk about seatbelts, bike helmets, or food allergies, pool safety, really making sure that we're normalizing these conversations to promote safe and responsible gun ownership and use, because everyone has a role to play.
As Cass mentions, it's so important to normalize the conversation on guns. It enhances accountability for responsible gun ownership and storage. The only times we talk about firearms shouldn't be in the aftermath of a tragedy. It shouldn't be in the aftermath of lives lost. It should be proactive to ensure we're reducing the incidence of gun violence, and especially being able to protect and keep our children, our communities, and just public health at large safe. Thanks for joining us today. To learn more, please visit everyguneverytime.org.